So, to tell you the truth, I personally had no desire to run for mayor. I know the politics, it's very dirty. People who are in politics are dirty people. You cannot live your life, and sometimes you lose yourself. I've seen so many people, before they get into politics, they're pretty innocent and nice, but once they get into the position, and they lost themselves. And I've seen over and over and seen people. I've never thought about that in my life until 2017. We have so many people, especially from the Chinese community, that we have been fighting at City Hall against cannabis in many areas. And I've seen a lot of corruptive behavior at City Hall. As a city government employee, I follow the order, I follow the rule of good government practices, so I stood up. I took my vacation time. As a government employee and been fighting at City Hall with government elected officers, people think that I was like, what's wrong with me? I go, wait a minute. I am a public health worker. One of my jobs is to help people rehab, to stay away from drug. But then they said they're gonna open 300 more cannabis stores. I said, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. So I talked to a friend of mine who also worked for the government. We both stood up because we talked about it. So we both stood up, we took the time, we led the Chinese community at public hearing. And you see Ellen in there most of the time fighting that I was translating. So I am a certified translator by our city. I am certified by Mandarin and Cantonese. So I have been translating at public hearing, fighting for no recreational cannabis next to any residential area and preschool and daycare. And even it's a sad picture when they pass the regulation loosely. So the Chinese community was very devastating. And many of the public employees, especially the mental health workers and the doctors and nurses, they say, what kind of government are we? We told them those are so bad and so bad for the youth and the young people. And they say, they're not important. It's okay to open a cannabis store next to daycare. I go, what kind of people we are having right now and representing government? They are not representing government. A government is a place for people who go there to seek help for quality of life. That's not what we've seen. So after Ed Lee passed away, 4 days later, they said they have a special election. And my Chinese community came to me and asked me, would you like to represent us? I said, I'm not that crazy. I said, no, thank you. I have a job. No, thank you. I love my volunteer work. But after a few days, I kind of think about it. If I don't do it, who else can do it at this time? I also talked to a couple of people who work for the government. Would they like to do it? They said, they're not crazy. So I'm not crazy. So after a few days, I stood up. Okay, so I filled out the form and got everything done. And that was what happened. I was nominated by the San Francisco Coalition of Good Neighborhoods from 11 districts. We had 11 districts in San Francisco. Like, for example, I live in district number 9 and many other people. So when we're fighting for cannabis, we stood up as a group. So we have, you know, nowadays we have a WeChat group. So we put everybody informed and let them know. That was why you see a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds, and going to CDU and say, no, no, no. Stay away from Chinatown, stay away from Sunset, stay away from Visitation Valley, stay away from San Bruno. But yet, they approved them. That was not only morally wrong, at the same time it's illegal. It's illegal against the federal law. No matter how much they do, how much they say legal, when the federal agents come and raided them, people lost everything. And besides cannabis, they are not insured. They don't have bank, and they are not a business for any good people. Because when the federal law comes, they will become just like criminals. So in the federal law, the people who pass the law, all the board of supervisors and the mayor who signed the bill, which was Ed Lee, they are no criminals when they go to the federal law. I never thought about that I run for mayor. It's not in my desire. I have been a Sunday school teacher. I have been a social worker for the last 20-something years. I worked for the government as a social worker for the last 13 years. I've seen so many corruptive behaviors. I've seen how dirty some of the politicians, and I myself will not get into that part of corruption because I've seen them. And in fact, if I am running for mayor, which I am right now, the first thing I do is to set up an anti-corruption to fight off anti-government corruption stuff. And that's one thing I wanted to do. And the second thing, I wanted to set up some policy in the middle. Not too left, not too right, so we have win-win solution. As a mayor, I don't want to be a winner. I don't have to be a winner. I just have to be a mayor, a people's mayor, had good heart, good ethics, good moral, and love people, and respect people, and appreciate for what people do, and not to abuse people. And that's what I want to be.